Hello and good evening, kings and queens and everybody in between. It's your boy Qyz Network back at you again with yet another edition of the Clout.Wav podcast. And today, well, we have a lot to talk about. Not all of it is good news. A lot of it is very somber news that I am not really necessarily too happy to share with you all. But alas, it is what it is. But what I am happy to share with the world is one of the top 1%ers of the top 1%ers in content creation, Mr. Subtle Fraudulence, everybody. Woo! Let's go. He's the real deal, Holyfield. How you been, buddy? You doing all right? It's a wacky world we live in, clearly, but are you all right?
Yeah, man. I'm doing all right for the most part. You know, I'm rewatching some things for some videos that I'm trying to put together. And
so what are you rewatching?
Right now, I'm rewatching a show called I Just Want My Pants Back, which was really good. It was on MTV. It only had one season. It's owned by NBC. It's owned by Peacock now for some reason. It's on their website, and there's just no explanation as to why it's there. So
it's just
I don't know.
Chilling in the cut for no reason, huh?
Yeah, it's just chilling there for no reason. I don't know. It's one of those things where MTV, I think, just gives away their shows that they don't want people to remember. So yeah, I'm trying to do some more research into why in the hell it's over there. But
I mean, you know why. Possible. Peacock is probably just starved for content. They need they're willing to take all comers at this point.
Hey, well, Peacock has original shows. It's got that Saved by the Bell reboot, and then other original shows that I don't watch. So
I was gonna say, you can't say original show and start off with a reboot.
There's what I think there's the one about the doctor who's I think it's there's 3 doctors and one of them is semi awful because he's I'm gonna kill all the bad people that we treat, and so the other 2 are we gotta stop this man. And I guess the plot of the show is they're figuring out how to intellectually stop this man without him knowing, when you could just call the cops. It's that show, The Slap, where at the very beginning, kid gets slapped. It's the end of show. That's it. It's hey, yeah, thanks. Awesome. And then end of show.
It's it shouldn't have been called The Slap Heard Around Princess County or wherever the fuck they were from. But to be honest with you, it reminds me of that Resident Evil movie that came out not too long ago. Because I saw it. Saw it 2 nights ago.
I saw it too. Oh.
And let me tell you something, guys. It's not other M bad, but boy, is it up there. But there is a scene that bothers me. I don't know about you. If you're locked in a cell with a sick man and the sick man is turning into a zombie and you have the wherewithal to steal a gun, but not the forward-thinking ability to shoot the goddamn zombie in your cell, you deserve to die.
Yep.
Who wrote this?
Yep.
I'm looking at the script and look, I'm going to be honest with you. The fact that they tried to rope-a-dope Resident Evil 1 into Resident Evil 2 at the same time and putting the Spencer Mansion 2 blocks down the way from Raccoon City, which was more like Raccoon Villa. There are small towns with approximately 6,000 people in the Midwest.
Yeah, and
look like they are further along in terms of infrastructure.
It looked like some of them were trailers, and I was I don't understand why Raccoon City is poor.
Raccoon City looked like it was definitely named after a city that has a raccoon infestation problem.
Yeah. I mean, look, okay, so I will give the movie this. The concept of taking the mansion and the events of the second game in Raccoon City and trying to combine them into this oh, they happened at the same time, so let's just see them, back to back or whatever. That does work out good for a movie. It works out well for a movie, but they didn't even do it right. They took that concept that was interesting and made it so bad.
Look, we found out that Claire and Chris Redfield were homeless and in a loony bin, umbrella ran foster care shelter that was ran by Mr. Birkin.
Yep.
So Mr. Birkin raised Chris and Claire for at least some of their adolescent life. And apparently Lisa Trevor was also there, and it's a shit show. I'm not going to spoil anything more. Just go watch it. It is literally a comedy special. Don't take it too seriously.
Also, to spoil this for you guys because you need to have this going in. The guy in the movie who looks like Carlos is Leon.
Look, that part tripped me up. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, when I first saw the trailer, I was like, oh, they got the best looking Carlos I have ever seen free. And then it was just like in the trailer, they're like, Leon. And I was like, word? Okay. But the only other thing that like really was kind of jarring was why the hell did they cast a clone of Tom Cruise to play Chris Redfield? You can't tell me that man is not test tube baby Tom Cruise. Where did they find this guy?
That guy's been in things.
Oh, I'm not saying that he hasn't. I'm just saying I had no idea to the degree that he looked like a test tube baby cloning experiment gone. That man is a Tom Cruise bioweapon.
Look, man, you know that meme where about Zoe Deschanel and about how what is it, like Katy Perry and certain other actresses look like Zoe Deschanel, even though her sister is also included in that that meme. Like, you know, they include all these actresses and they're like, they all look like the same person. Tom Cruise, it's the same thing. Between Tom Cruise, the guy that played Chris in this movie, the kid that plays Drew in Degrassi, who like he's been in like other things somewhat recently also, like between those three and then a few other random actors that are in random things like Lifetime movies and shit. There's a lot of weird shit going on in Hollywood where some people just look the same.
That's tough. But I mean, if you're going to look like anybody, you know, Tom Cruise is definitely in the top 1% of people that you would probably want to have a look like of.
Are you sure? Because that man is super old, and he's like, yeah, I want a 20-year-old woman to be my opposite.
I said
in this movie.
look alike, okay? You don't fumble your looks back like he did, bro. There's a difference. But speaking of
real quick though, since we're on Tom Cruise, have you heard the rumor that Tom Cruise like fucks fish? That what? he goes to like a store. He like takes a fish and goes into the bathroom with the fish mysteriously, and he's in there for quite some time doing something. And then he leaves. He doesn't.
So what you're saying is we need a second part of that Kanye West episode of South Park.
Oh, yeah, hopefully
with
not.
Tom Cruise, is that what you're telling me? Because
maybe
that doesn't sound sanitary at all. I just want you to know that.
Yeah, you're right. But there are tons of people who put their dicks in unsanitary things.
Here's my question: does he put the fish back?
To my knowledge, from what I've heard about this rumor, yes. He either puts it back or they make him buy it.
I was gonna say, or the fish be living? Because like it be out of the water, and you know what? Never mind. This is not a conversation I actually want to have any further about any more details about the situation. I don't need to hear anything about fish dicks or lack thereof. But speaking of weird things on the internet, the Fresh and Fit podcast, they're still going strong, guys. They're still pushing forward. And this whole manosphere thing on Twitter, social media, YouTube, like, I don't know. It's one of the weirdest internet subcultures that I've ever seen in my life. Because it's like they're cultivating an audience that is clearly salivating and chomping at the bit to just tear into everything around them that has led to whatever mysterious path of life that they've walked down that has led their life to being in the shambles. And for some reason, instead of having any sort of accountability for themselves, they're like, yeah, it's the coach's fault. And it's like, what? I feel like we skipped several steps here, gentlemen, because at the end of the day, I've seen a few clips from them. They're having episodes about women shouldn't be involved in politics because they're just emotional wrecks. Men, and this is some shit I saw last week. They had a guy on there who said that I miss the days of arranged marriages. We need to bring those back because women vote with their vaginas and men vote with their wallets. That was the end goal of his statement there. All right.
Wow.
He was saying any woman that is trying to be successful and being in her own lane, that's some masculine shit. And therefore, a man with options is clearly just going to choose, you know, any woman. Why would I date my own competition? That's silly. And it's like, what? This is the fragile masculinity shit that everyone's been talking about. Have you not heard?
Facts. Like, these are dudes who are like, oh, the woman has to be, available to please me sexually, when I get home, or, when I'm tired, whatever, and she's got to be good at it. But also, if she's out there sucking 10, 20 dicks, I got a bunch of bodies, then she ain't a wife. You better not wife her if she's fucked anybody but me. And it's like, how's she gonna get the experience, man?
What are you talking about? These are the same people who are going to be the people in the workforce, who are, making sure that you have 8 years of experience. But, it's a quote unquote entry level job for 8 years of experience.
Yep.
Or my personal favorite. Yeah, we need 12 years of experience. Okay, well, how do I get the experience? I don't know. You on your own, baby. You figure that shit out, bro. And, that's kind of tough. It is what it is. But, like, seeing these podcasts, like, I don't know if I talked to you about this, but there is I kid you not, it's the Manosphere News Daily. It's a YouTube channel. And there's a chick whose video they took where she was basically saying that, oh, I found out that this guy was cheating on me and he just left me and my daughter out to dry. And then when I went to go figure out how who he was cheating on me with, I found this one girl who he was screwing around with. So when I confronted her and talked to her about it, she found out that there was more people that he was cheating on both of us with, to the point to where they found out he was using different brands of condoms for each girl. Ew. Yes. Yeah. So this man was out here plotting. And then the comment section was like, oh, you guys deserve better. The whole, oh, you guys, like, that sucks that he would do that like that. And, oh, you're a gem. It sucks, but, you live, you move on, you grow and go better. He's like, and then you obviously you had the Queen Brigade come in there and be like, you'll rise up and get it next time, Queen. I'm wishing you the best. You know the spiel that you see in the comment section usually.
Yeah.
And then this dude was like, no, because she is not a queen. What she is someone who got. She wanted Tyrone, and she got Tyroned. Like, they use Tyrone and Chad, like, unironically. Like, this is part of their vernacular. Like, this is something that they say, like, it's trying to break down barriers. And it's confusing to me because he goes on further. He says, no, because she is not a queen. She needs to start understanding that she played herself. There are plenty of guys, I'm sure, who she knows, who she didn't want to look after. But as soon as Tyrone came in there, looking good, being an athlete, being a superstar and whatnot, she put all of her morals and all those red flags to the side. And then Tyrone got her. She did it to herself, which then went on to the next layer of him saying things like, because you have to understand, ladies, if Tyrone can get a beautiful girl looking like you, and yes, she is beautiful, then you got to understand that Tyrone can get 5 or 6 other women. So if you're not doing your part to hold it down, you deserve to lose him. And I'm like, what? It's like, define doing your part, because it seems like she was doing just exactly what you would do in a relationship, especially in its, its early blossoming stages. And this man has clearly been spreading this. He's been hitting the Yujiro Hanma from Baki. That man is slanging the seed around the block. And it's just, I don't know. Like, it's at a point now where it's just like, it's comical, but it's getting to a point to where, like, there's so much of it and they're getting so much support. And it's always, well, in my experience, I'm not going to throw everybody who watches them under the bus because I don't know every one of y'all. But anecdotally, every single one of the people who I met who watch these people are the same social degenerate weirdos who do shit where they don't shower. They're not successful. And it's like, look, you may be looking at these people who have these podcasts who make 5 times the amount of money you do, 6-figure, 7-figure jobs, right?
Right.
But you are trying to have this mindset, and it's like, well, what do you do? I'm a cashier, part-time, and you're 34? Now, I understand everyone's got a different situation. This isn't to shit on anybody who's a cashier at 34. I'm just saying, when your household income that you bring in is like $11K to $19K a year, I don't think you get to go around calling 50% of the planet's population nothing but hussies and shit eaters or Shaniquas because you don't want to be a quote unquote night rider for black people, or you don't like this type of thing, or you don't like that type of thing because you don't make enough money to make those type of decisions.
Right.
And to be honest, just because they make 6-figure jobs, like who the hell are they to make those decisions for anybody else's life?
And honestly, a friend of mine who is, doing pretty well with his money, did kind of like inform me that these guys aren't even making that much money in the wide spectrum of things. They make it seem like they're these like billionaires or like some shit like that, but they're not. They're actually not. And the weird thing the things that I've seen on people who defend them is that they just say, "Oh, well, that's just how millionaires are." You know what I mean? And it's like that's not an excuse to be shitty. And it's not an excuse to like be disrespectful to women. So I don't get this whole concept of like, oh, it's okay to cheat on your girl because you're a high value man because you have all this money or whatever. And women like men with money, and so that's not.
Well, here's the thing: they usually get nothing but vapid, and no offense to the women on there, but they definitely know how to handpick the airheaded women.
Yeah,
they do.
And here's why.
Because
when they have women,
why would you hire your competition?
Well, they have brought on women who are of sound mind to have a real discussion with these dudes about these concepts. And whenever these women are there, like when the woman tries to like provide actual like good points, they make it seem like, oh, now we've gotten you into our trap. Now we're gonna, we came super prepared. We're gonna give you all these stats and blah, blah, blah. And then when they say something that's like 100% true, and it's just like the counter to whatever the hell these guys are saying, they just kind of like sweep it under the rug, sweep it under the table, and then just kind of like try to change the subject real quick. One of the things that one of the episodes that I've seen that interests me the most was that there's this fairly well known sex worker who I think she used to live here in Atlanta, or maybe she still lives here in Atlanta. I think she goes by El Panda now, but she's actually like a very, very intelligent person who does know a lot of information on this type of subject. So she was on there and she was giving actual analytical responses to these things and explaining all of these things about her work, why she treats people certain ways and why it's some of the things that they're saying are harmful, all that stuff. And they just kind of tried to be like, oh, well, you just suck dick. Ha, ha, ha. I saw your video when you were sucking that black guy's dick. And it's like, that doesn't, whatever. And then on top of that, even things related to sex, they were getting wrong. Like they were saying like, oh, any sex with like 2 or more dudes is a gangbang, or like running a train or whatever on a girl. And she was like, no. She's like, it's a spit roast or it's like a threesome, whatever, but that's not running a train on a girl.
The scientific terms for threesomes. You never thought you'd be here for the Eiffel Tower, but here you are.
That's what I'm saying. And even then they were just like, nah, that's running a train. And it was just like, what are these cornballs doing? So anyways,
you gotta remember, this is the same podcast. It was like the Middle East, Saudi Arabia and stuff, they got it right. And it's like, look,
bro,
it's like, you gotta understand, those women, it's like, oh, you act out of line? Well, that's great. Well, now your daughter is getting snatched up and your head's rolling down a block. They don't have what we would call options in those relationships you're talking about.
Right.
And obviously, if you're having guests on there who are saying, we need to bring back arranged marriages, and y'all go, yeah, y'all need to take a look within. Now, granted, y'all are not going to do that. We know that's never going to happen, but that's wild to me.
It is literally that incel argument of there should be like assigned girlfriends or assigned partners or whatever, and it's like
they want to cash in their quote unquote good noodle. So it's like, I'm a good person. person. Where's the pussy that is owed to me? And it's like,
that's a literal episode of Black Mirror, and that didn't go well. Like, what are you talking about?
Well, no. All right, look, guys, we already know how this is going to go because we know that the people who complain about, I'm a good we know for a fact that in 95% of those cases you're not good people. But
Right.
even the off chance that you are, we know that y'all are some of the most picky and, let's just be honest, unhappy, miserable folks on the planet, because I know exactly how this will go. I haven't seen the episode of Black Mirror, but I'm just going to tell you how it's going to go. Y'all will get a girlfriend, and as soon as she gets there, the minute y'all find out she's not Megan Fox beautiful, she doesn't look like Rihanna, she doesn't have a Kardashian butt, or she doesn't have the Super Guac 10,000, y'all gonna be mad, and y'all gonna be like, oh, we need to upgrade because this is garbage. I can't believe you would sally me with this incompatible hussy. I deserve top shelf because I'm a good bean. That's what y'all are gonna do.
So this is what happens in the actual episode. The episode in the timeline in the episode, there's like an app or like a device that basically determines who your like soulmate is, or who your like partner should be. It's like, this person will show up on the screen. It's like, this is the person that is your like 100% match or whatever, and then you and that person have to get in relationship with each other and be in that relationship for as long as it like runs its course or whatever. And of course, there were situations where it's like you and this person are matched up, and then they meet and whatnot, and it's like, I don't even like this fucking person, but you're literally stuck with them. That's exactly what would happen in this case, where they're like, oh, let's go to Sawing Girlfriends. It's like, what if they don't like you? Like, what you think that someone who doesn't like you is going to give you some good sexual satisfaction? No. Fuck no.
Look, instead of the guac 9000, we're just going to call it the guacamole. All right. It starts with guac, ends with white sauce. Y'all understand. That's all we need to get to. Yep. I don't want to get demonetized again.
But anyways, Tommy Sotomayor. Haven't heard of this dude? There's a reason. He's one of those people who is like, he's like banned from some platform, or at the very least shunned from certain platforms, because he's got some very, very controversial views about mainly black women and black people, I guess, but mainly black women. He's one of those like black woman bad, or black women are so aggressive type of dudes, right? He was on an episode of Fresh and Fit, and he there was a black woman that sat right next to him. And so he was, saying all his nonsense, giving off his spiel, and she, of course, was responding to him and was like, like this is ridiculous, or this is wild, whatever. And she was getting mad about it because, some of the things he said were like pretty offensive. And she was trying to point out that like is generally offensive that you're like painting black women in this way, but he's just trying to cut her off the whole time and like disrespecting her the whole time. And eventually things got heated because they also give these people alcohol because, the number one rule that all reality shows will tell you when it comes to making great content is that you get everyone drunk so that they'll do something stupid. 100%. Love is Blind, The Bachelor,
reservations and inhibitors are turned off.
Exactly. The Real Housewives, all those shows. Whenever there's like some wild scene that happens where people are blowing up or someone saying something stupid, there's a shit ton of alcohol in the scene. You just got to look at the cups, like every time. So this girl's like, pretty drunk, pretty tipsy, whatever, and she's like yelling at this dude, and so they're trying to kick her out because she's like, yelling at him because he's just been saying nonstop like offensive shit the whole time, making it seem like black women are these like demonous, aggressive beings or whatever.
He's treating them just like the Shadow the Hedgehog folk treated the black creatures as black creatures. That's how he been treating them, bro.
Exactly. So like, of course she's getting heated. What is it? The like weird producer guy that has like a speech impediment like shows up. Chris, I think his name is. He shows up and he's like trying to fucking kick her out, like physically like pick her up and like get her out or whatever. Like he will at the very least come up to her and like touch her and be like, hey, you got to get out of here or whatever, like mid sentence. And so he's trying to do that. but all the while, Tommy Sotomayor is next to her yelling at her, like, like, no, bitch, whatever, right? And so she gets pissed because someone touches her while she's going on like a rant, and she starts swinging. I think she like tapped Tommy a little bit because the producer guy basically got her out of the way before she could really do any harm. But while he was holding her back, Tommy gets up and starts he starts trying to swing at this lady, and so of course like a bunch of the women around him like get up and try to like pull him back and whatnot because he's like yelling all kinds of like shit at her and like trying to fight her, and it just all becomes a mess. And it's like,
because in the clip that I saw, Sotomayor is basically saying, "Get this stupid drunk bitch out of here! It's fucking ignorant," and like going on his spiel about that. And then she was like, "No, he's not going to talk to me like I'm just some object, blah, blah, blah." Then she picks up the microphone, and then that's when the staff member comes over and tries to get her out of there. And then like she reaches out and like basically taps Tommy in the chest, but then she's definitely trying to get physical. It's getting physical. She was definitely trying to get the hands on him. And then that's when Tommy said, "Oh, nah, you got the wrong one, because I'll hit a bitch." And then that's when it turned into everyone trying to separate them. But it was weird to me how, and look, I understand that, when other people are on other platforms, sometimes you don't always necessarily act like you normally do. But I know when some people get out of hand, usually Fresh and Fit will be like, hey, hold on. Nah, don't do that. Nah, blah, blah, blah. You're going to have to leave. And, they try to expedite the process of getting them out of there. But in this one, it wasn't until like, oh, he's going to put hands on her. Now, all of a sudden, like they handled this one very differently, because usually they don't let it get that far.
Usually usually they start like telling the women like, nah, you got to cut that shit out, and like, or you're going to get out of here or whatever. And
that's
like,
what I mean.
I think in the I think even in the episode there were like a few warnings that were given to her, and that was like the point where they're just like, all right, you got to get out of here, and she just like wasn't listening to them when they were saying like, you got to get out because you're being like a disturbance or whatever. But also that dude's energy was different from how this usually goes, because usually they're the ones who are just like, hey, you got to stop or you're getting out, but they don't like say it in like a super duper aggressive way. Besides Myron, they're just kind of like, hey, you got to stop that shit or you're going to get out of here. But this dude is like, yeah, fuck you, bitch. It's like, yo. So with this dude doing all this, they're trying to like figure out how to deal with him while also telling her to get out. But they're more focused on her because they respect the man a lot more, even though he's saying some wild shit. But they co-sign all the wild shit that he's saying because he says he basically made a more aggressive version of the shit that they got flack for when they were saying that they don't date black women, So none of this is surprising. It's just really, really sad and disappointing. But this is the content that their fans like, They love it when the guys kick out women because they're like, yeah, get that hoe out of here. She trash, blah, blah, blah. Even though those niggas are going to follow that girl on Instagram, be in their DMs like, please, give me a crumb. Just a crumb, please. Like, it's a spectacle, and it's a dumb spectacle at this point. Like, at this point, you just got to look at it as you shouldn't take them seriously. I say that all the time. You shouldn't take these two seriously because they're very immature. One of them is a psychopath. All right, you can guess which one. It's an easy guess, but one of them is a psychopath. The other one is way too corny for you to sit there and look at him and be like, yeah, this is the guy that's going to tell me how to get the right woman in my life and keep her. Like, come on. For the most part, the fans know what it is, but some people are like brainwashed by this shit, and it's like honestly very, very sad. And people are starting to talk about this kind of content a lot more, where there's like more misogynist content that's like veiled as like dating advice or whatever. But right now I like to see it as there are two sides to the manosphere. Now there's the Fresh and Fit side, which is just a bunch of like corny like incels and like incel adjacent type of people who are sitting here saying like legitimately like harmful things and like just giving shitty advice the whole time because they're like mad that when they were younger they were like ignored, or because they don't get enough swipes on Tinder, that kind of shit. or Instagram girls don't look at them, whatever. But then you have like the like Abba and Preach side where you have two people who are mature and understand the goal and understand how to get there and actually provide reasonable advice about all of this that covers all like situations to say like, hey, if this is happening, you should do this, or like, hey, if you're someone who like they put out a video where they said, hey, if you're someone who like usually like your face or like visually you're not the most attractive person, then maybe you shouldn't like rely on like Tinder or Bumble or like dating apps as much as you should actually like socializing with people like in public so that you can show them the other like good traits that you have, because dating apps are very shallow. Like someone's gonna see your face first and react to that.
Vanity first, vanity second, and that's it.
Right. Like some dating apps like Hinge try to get around that, but at the end of the day, humans are gonna like just look at the face first and then worry about personality later because they're not having a real conversation with the person.
Look, hold on. Before we even go further past that, let's just look at YouTube, for instance. Y'all will look at a YouTube thumbnail and just to decide if it's worth watching a 4-minute video, much less do I want to spend 4 hours with this person who I don't know.
Right.
Y'all won't even further go do research on a YouTuber or a content creator. Y'all will look at a thumbnail and they'll be like, oh, it didn't grab my attention. Guess I won't be watching this. And because y'all are afraid to risk 4 minutes in the comfort of your own home watching something that y'all may necessarily not like.
And that is why I say that their fan base, like first off, their fan base has to be like at least a little bit psychotic to be as dedicated to their content as they are, because these guys put out like 2 to 4+ hour videos every night. Like the stream that they do with the women, they do that like once a night, I think, like every night besides the weekend, maybe.
Here's my question, all right? As public knowledge as it is that they dog black women all the time, drag them through the mud, pretty much give them the fucking Undertaker tombstone pile driver damn near at least once every 72 fucking hours. How do they keep getting more to pop up on the show?
Clout machine, man. The clout machine. It's either usually it's women who don't like know of the reputation, like they don't do their research. They just either Fresh actually meets them out in public and says, "Hey, you should come to the show" or whatever, or they one of the dudes will like reach out to these women on Instagram. Sometimes it's their like producer guy or whatever will reach out to these women on Instagram and be like, hey, you should come on our show. It'll get you a lot of like notoriety. You'll get a lot of clout for being on the show.
Eyes will be on your product in the future.
Yeah, eyes will be on your product in the future. Exactly. That sort of thing will happen. And these women don't do their research into, these guys, and they just show up because they're like, hey, it's going to be a party. It's going to be fun. Or in the case of some black women who are like frequent guests on the show, they just straight up defend these guys, and they're like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with what they say about black women. I totally get it too. I think black women are aggressive also, which definitely perpetuates the problem. But it's like they don't they stick up for them, or they like agree with what these guys are saying, and then after that, they fucking just show up for the clout machine. Some people will do whatever for clout. All right. Like I literally saw a video where a content creator was talking about how someone else told them that in order to get like more clout from their meetings with like more popular people at like events like esports players and stuff like that, it's like if you follow them on Twitter, you unfollow them, then you walk up to them, you talk to them, you're like, oh, hey, I didn't really know, like who are you, whatever, you have a conversation. Oh, wow, I didn't know you were this celebrity. That's really cool. I'm gonna follow you on Twitter. And then that makes them more inclined to follow back. And it's like, those are psychotic strats. You know what I'm saying? Like that's fucking wild that you would go go that length just to get someone to follow you, so that maybe you'll like sap the clout out of their social media accounts. But that's usually how it goes. They either have a revolving door of women who are trying to just, grit and bear, grit their teeth and just bear with whatever's going on so that they can get more Instagram followers, OnlyFans subs, whatever. Or they're just women who just generally like don't even know what's going on. They're like, yeah, I'm just here to party and have a good time.
Look, we all know that a lot of it is a dog and pony show. We get that. Like, obviously, people are going to do whatever they want to do for content.
It's genius for what they want, because when you're sitting here like, I want incels to come to me and like see me as the person that's going to give you like great advice. I'm going to surround myself with a bunch of like Instagram models, or like girls who look like Instagram models with like like all kinds of like plastic surgery or whatever, so that it looks like I'm the man. I got all these women over here, and so I can tell you how to get those women to like actually pay attention to you. Even though when you really pay attention to what's going on, most of those women there don't pay attention to them like that. And they
Agreed.
like treat them with like a lot of disrespect for the most part. So yeah.
Look, we're at a point now where I just feel like people will do anything for content, because let's face it, clout is the new crack. It may not mess your body up, but it will 110,000% mess up your social skills, because some of y'all really be believing everything y'all see in these 16:9 boxes, and it's shameful. It is shameful. But that aside, more somber news coming down the pipeline. As you guys know, the Russian invasion of Ukraine. And that to me, that's wild, because let's face it, folks, for the past couple of weeks, you had the whole thing with all these soldiers being at the border, and Putin was just like, nah, we just chilling. We just catching a vibe.
And y'all believe that? Like, y'all really were just like, nah, man, there's no way he would do that. Look, on the list of leaders in countries, or on the list of countries that would do something like this because they're like, I just want that land, so I'm gonna just go ahead and take it. Russia is at least top 5, but definitely top 1 on that fucking list of, yeah, they're totally gonna do that when they get the opportunity. And they literally showed us that they were preparing to do it. And then when people like ask them like, yo, what are you doing? It's like, no, we're not doing anything. Don't worry, guys. We're just doing this for precautionary reasons or whatever. It's like, you taking a precaution to invade somebody? Like what, you think they're going to invade you even though you're more powerful? It's like, yeah, of course it was going to happen. It was just a matter of when. And like, we all kind of like knew it. It was just like, we don't need more shit to happen to us, in this like 3-year span. Like, so, let's just hope for the best. It's like, but if you've been existing for the past 3 years, don't hope for the best, because the best is not coming. It's not.
It's really not. But like, here's what I know was like shocked for. Like, I didn't realize just how well. I knew people were ignorant, but like, sometimes y'all just got to keep some of these tweets in the drafts, because I'm gonna just read you a couple, right? Just read you a couple. I'm not gonna lie. I thought Ukraine was part of Russia, like Russia being the state and Ukraine being like a city or something.
That's how it's usually like pushed to people. Like in the general public, most people are not like privy to the intricacies of all that.
I'll give you this one. I thought Ukraine was a state.
Okay, back to the public thing. Most people don't even understand, the difference between Ukraine and Russia, or like, the beef that's, between them, or anything like that, right? They just like assume that Ukraine is a part of Russia, because they just assume that Russia is still the Soviet Union. Mm-hmm. But the whole motivation behind this attack in the first place is that Russia is trying to become the Soviet Union once again. They're like, yo, we're going to take that land and we're going to bring the Union back. And
they feel like they lost territory, and now, he's got sour grapes because he wants to flex a little muscle out there, and he wants to get this quote unquote land back. even though they had this whole conflict where, I don't know if you guys remember this, this beef was kicked into high gear in 2014. It didn't kick into high gear today. It's been a high gear for 2014. And we've just been doing things to either appease or slow it down. But we all knew that eventually it was going to come to this point at some point. Now, I'm not going to get into the X's and O's and the ins and outs and the whys because I don't have all those answers. I'm not someone who lives over in that region of the world.
Right.
There are plenty of political people out there who you could probably follow, or, you know, just look at your timelines and see people who are actually living in Ukraine and, you know, go from there. But one thing I am tired of seeing are people over here in the West giving these super political hot takes, showing they have, like, they don't even, if I told you to point to Ukraine on a map, they couldn't do it, but now they're going to tell me about every in and out of how that entire region's political infrastructure works.
Right.
And those people are really weird because you got a lot of people out there who are saying, but guys, content creators, you need to stop what you're doing and you need to spread more information about Ukraine. And it's like, no, because you were definitely pressuring some stupid people into saying stupid things. Because no, if you're dumb, if you're ignorant and you have no idea what you're talking about, it's best to just say, yeah, the invasion is not a good idea because, like, innocent people are getting upset, people are getting killed, and, you know, there's no place for that. And then do your salute and call it a day. But y'all be getting into it talking about, oh, well, you got to, like, what was that tweet that was going around where the dude was like, honestly, I think the best political strategy they should use is actually just allow the Russian troops to advance into a large scale populated city over there and begin fighting in the city, because you guys know the strategical layout of the city and the building and the cover. But if you guys lose, it might get Russian civilians in Russia to sympathize with you guys because we went in there and we killed a bunch of people in a city. Like, no, dead ass. That is a tweet that popped on my feed. People are really out here saying stupid shit. And this person has a following.
See, that's the thing. Like, where it just takes me back to Israel and Palestine when you know, things related to Israel and Palestine came up in the zeitgeist. Everyone was talking about Israel and Palestine. You know, it looks like there's some sort of apartheid happening, you know, between Israel and Palestine, you know, all that shit. And certain content creators literally had to come out and say, I know that you guys keep asking us to talk about this, but we're not going to, because one, we don't we don't care. We don't really like live over there, so we don't know, you know, whatever. But two, we also don't know the intricacies of that whole conflict. So it would be stupid for us to tell you anything about this, even our opinions, because we don't have informed opinions on this. So you should look for the information yourself if you're like concerned about that. But like, instead, people are like, no, I want my favorite content creator to tell me what to think about this. And it's like, no.
And it's like no,
these are real people's lives you got to deal with here.
Yeah, and I'm like, this motherfucker's probably just trying to cook a souffle on Twitch or play Apex Legends, or I don't fucking know, have a just chatting stream where they talk about fucking anime. And then here you come. So what are your opinions about the whole thing in Ukraine? And it's like, besides the regular white bread take of, it's bad and because people are dying, we shouldn't, you know, force people to speak out of ignorance into just saying wild shit about, you know, politics, because trust me, on social media, we have enough of that going around as it is. Let's not force other people who are taking the good measure to, you know, not partake and then forcing them to partake into the hot take category, because trust me, we don't need to see Ninja turning into Alex Jones.
What does Ja Rule think about this though? Where is Ja?
Like, is that Dave Chappelle has told us this already? And whatever you want to say about Dave Chappelle at this point, but he was dead on about that. Bang on about that. You got to stop looking at celebrities, much less these E, F, Q, N, and Z list celebrities out here. All right.
Exactly. And you know what Ja Rule said? War is not the answer. That's what he said about this. And it's like, no, the war has been started. Like, they like literally attacked the nation. Like, there's not really many options left besides war at this point, because they're like, nah, we fighting. Like Russia said, nah, we fighting right now. Let's go. Like Ukraine is literally fighting for their lives. Like the people in Ukraine are like just trying to like leave so that they don't have to be a part of this like ridiculous like thing that's going on. And unfortunately, you have all kinds of like bullshit where it's like people are trying to like gain clout off of this by like sharing false information and like sharing their weird hot takes about shit that they don't understand.
There are people who've gone to the point where these are like those IRL streamers. They're talking about that they bought plane tickets to Ukraine so they can potentially get some IRL footage. But not because they care about these people, not because they want to make a change, but because they thought, man, if something blows up on camera, that'd be pretty cool, yeah?
That's right, man. Ladies and gentlemen. Leave Ukraine to me.
Like, what the hell are you going to do, buddy?
Exactly. You gonna get an audience with Putin and convince him that that he should just stop all this? Like, no, that man doesn't look like he talks to people. He doesn't look like he's gonna.
There's gonna be a building on fire and they're gonna do a TikTok dance in front of it. That's about the best they gonna fucking do. But anyway, then you have the people who are like from regions that are not even remotely in the same hemisphere as this conflict, and all they're doing is making fucking shit post memes, and it's like. You do understand that these are like innocent people whose lives are on the line. That people who are going to not be able to sleep soundly tonight because they might be awoken by a bomb. That might be awoken by a missile. Troops may be kicking down their door. They don't know what's going. They are going into the dark. And as we've seen from some people on social media, they said, we love you guys, but our internet's going out and I won't be able to talk to you guys for who knows how long. Stay tuned. But then you have, and I think this is one of the most despicable things. The next two topics about this, I think the most despicable things I've seen. People who are pretending to be Ukrainians to garner sympathy, clout, and likes. Like they're making like alt accounts, or they're turning one of their shitpost accounts and then putting the Ukrainian flag and then changing their local geotags to Ukraine, and then saying like, oh my God, this, that, and, you know, basically copy and pasting and slightly editing, you know, Ukrainian stories to make it look like they're authentically there. And it's just an absolute shit show, number one. But number two, you got people on Twitch, you got people on YouTube with fucking Arma 3 gameplay and Warzone gameplay, and they're tagging it as live footage from Ukraine. Just trying to get, you know, someone to click on their fucking stream. And it's like, what? How much of a social degenerate, knuckle dragon, Neanderthal lowlife do you have to be to where the only way you can garner a simple view, a crumb of somebody's attention, is to pretend that you're in the middle of a war zone by having some gameplay of a war zone playing on a stream in the safety of your own house, hundreds if not thousands of miles away from any conflict, not just limited to this one. Y'all in a gated community out there in the middle of fucking California talking about I'm in the middle of a battlefield, help me. Like that's some despicable shit.
It is.
And I understand that some people say, but some people cope with humor and, you know, they don't want to deal with the tragedy, so they cope with humor. And it's like, what are you coping with? Because you're not there. You're nowhere near the situation. The situation at this point does not affect or concern you. So what are you coping for? Because some of you, I realize y'all can't care about world issues unless you can find a way to make it center around yourself. That is one thing that social media has taught us years ago.
Yeah. And I think social media like perpetuates this idea that like that it should be about them or that it should pertain to them in some kind of way. Like
because everybody got main character syndrome, bro.
Yeah, like you don't have to put out any sort of content about this conflict if you literally don't have any sort of information on it. Like, yeah, sure, if you want to say something like nice, like, oh, you know, my heart goes out to them, I hope that these people can find some safety and whatnot. Sure, but like the moment you're just like, oh, I'm part Ukrainian, and like if it was me over there, I'd be so. And it's like that's not. This is not the time for you to talk about your story. Like, like these people are literally like in an actual like war zone. They're in the danger zone, and they're trying to figure out what to do. There's literal traffic that they got to fight because they can only like drive out of that place because the airport is done. So like the airport got bombed. Like these things are definitely leagues above whatever it is you're tweeting about. So also weird things like the Ukraine Twitter account being like, hey, let's get rid of Russia's Twitter account. They shouldn't be on social media after doing this. Like, you think Russia fucking cares about their Twitter account right now? Like, they got bigger things they're worried about. You know?
Like, and let's be honest, if Russia, let's just say Russia does keep their Twitter account, right? You probably want them to, because let's be honest, if there's any nation that's probably going to talk shit that's not the United States on social media, it's probably them. They might tell you some information that you may not have been privy to otherwise.
Yeah.
But we all know that most of these Twitter accounts, they're not ran by anybody actually in power. They're ran by intern number 5. But not saying that that's the case for the Ukrainian Twitter or the Russian Twitter, but I think y'all have bigger fish to fry than worrying about social media. That's all I'm really saying, though.
Yeah. I mean, as far as conflict goes,
you think that if, like, God forbid, a terrorist organization like ISIS decided they were going to regarner all their resources, they surge to power, and they just start blowing up Paris again, you think we're going to be like, we got to get ISIS off Twitter? Like, no. Like, obviously, at some point, sure, we can get to that. But that shouldn't be, like, in the top 2 things on the priority fucking list. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, because that just gives all these, like, weirdo, like, conservatives and whatnot who are, like, pro-Putin, which, oh, by the way, so, like, you remember, like, a while ago when we were talking about, like, Blair White being in that one, like, panel where it was, like, her, another trans woman, and then, like, a bunch of other, like, conservatives, and then there was, like, the Nazi woman that was there?
Yeah.
That woman has some sort of program, and she was fucking saying that she is pro-Putin, and saying that, the Luciferian demons in Ukraine are being eradicated by Putin. Like these Nazis are being crazy right now. And so there are definitely weirdos who are on social media who are like trying to like take all this shit to make it talking points so that we don't talk about the actual conflict, which is that Putin said, I want this. I'm going to take it by force. I don't fucking care what anybody else says. And now we have to deal with the fallout of that, which is all of these world leaders being like, hey, man, we don't condone that kind of behavior. We're going to do something about this.
But here's the thing. You always got to worry about what's the next step. Because when you say, yes, the United States is going to come in there with our allies, it's like, you got to understand, there are a lot of nations out there that are pretty big, pretty sizable and powerful, who are looking at the U.S. like, well, if y'all get involved, we gonna fuck y'all up too. They may not necessarily fuck with Russia, but they definitely don't fuck with us. And I'm just saying, China's been looking for a reason. Iran's been looking for a reason. I'm sure Saudi Arabia's been looking for a reason.
Yep.
And trust me, when you got some of those people who got money, which they do, in which several of these countries we owe a lot of money to. But that being said, they might want to come to collect, and they might use their disdain for us as a common bonding thread. So this might not just, like, I don't want to use the word world war, because I'm pretty sure at this point everyone knows that having a nuclear fucking battle is the worst fucking possible thing you could do, especially with the shelf life on our planet being relatively diminished due to industrialization, all that other shit, deforestation, blah, 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 that wouldn't be a good course of action. So I don't think we would ever go. I think that's enough of a deterrent. But a lot of people are saying that, when you get old people who are in power for too long, maybe they just see red. They're not thinking straight. And what if Putin's that do? What if Putin that do to push the button? because we do know they are a nuclear power. They do have it. It could happen.
Yep.
And if that's the case, what if Chinese leaders are like, hey, I mean, we keep that, it concerns us, but we keep that thing on us too now. And if the U.S. come barking around over here, their soldiers will get Qyz. Like, not saying it would happen or that's how it would go. I'm just saying this is one of those powder keg situations where it may not concern us right now on a, first person experience here, but it could in the future. And I feel like people just making it lighthearted or, impersonating a Ukraine person who's going through suffering today is just some horseshit, to be honest with you. But it's a really fucked up situation.
Yeah, it is. And a lot of people don't understand exactly how fucked up it is, which, I mean, honestly, you're lucky. Like, if you don't even have to deal with it, like, you're just lucky. And so you just gotta keep counting your blessings and hope the best for the people who are involved, because none of us are Superman.
Yeah,
and none of us are going to become him.
It's always weird when one of the top stories that comes out of here, because I don't even know why this was one of the stories that was recommended to us, but canceled. This, I'm not a joke. This is literally the title of the article. It is literally the bullshit title that they wanted to drag across the mud here.
Yep.
Canceled comedian Louis C.K. to perform in Kiev despite Russian invasion, because apparently he's having a revival world tour.
Now come on, man, come on, no. Don't you feed me this bullshit. That's an Onion article. Obviously, that's not real. Come on.
Would you like to tell me who wrote it? Would you like to tell him? Because I can tell him.
The New York Post wrote it, so it is real. Oh my god. So yeah, this is where we are now. Despite all of this shit, somehow there was some weird crusade to be like, don't worry, guys. Despite the conflict that's happening in Ukraine, the Louis C.K. show in Kiev, is it pronounced Kiev just like Kiev? But anyways, Kiev is it's still happening, guys. Don't worry. Buy your tickets if you want to see Louis C.K. in Ukraine.
Now,
right now.
It has since been canceled, but why did anyone think this was a story that needed to be told? Much less,
right?
Why is your article titled "Canceled Comedian"? We gotta stop using the word "canceled" because "canceled" means nothing. You can cancel anything, but you gotta understand something. Usually, when you quote unquote cancel something, unless there's actual consequences to their actions, then it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Y'all motherfuckers have talked shit about Dave Chappelle for about 6 months now. And I'm sure that man has at least got 1 or 2 more Netflix specials lined up, ready to go in his pocket. And you saw he still has enough political sway in his little town to be able to pull millions and change lives. So clearly your cancellation has done jack diddly fuck all. Now, that being said, I know a lot of you guys are saying, but consequences are a good thing, and they are. And some people may say, but canceling is good. And it's like, is it though? Because a lot of times when I do see people get quote unquote canceled, y'all don't have any punishments lined up for these people. Y'all just say, oh, well, we don't like that guy anymore because he's an asshole. And it's like, okay, I mean, that's fair. We don't like this girl anymore because she's an asshole. Once again,
right.
Fair. But it seems like 9 times out of 10, y'all end up just taking it out on people who consume their content. Don't get me wrong. I've seen people saying, oh my God, guys, we got to boycott Harry Potter, blah, 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 blah. But if you own the Harry Potter stuff already, you can still watch it. You could be like, yes, this is a fantastic book. The Sorcerer's Stone. I like this one. But you can also say, but J.K. Rowling is a sack of shit. You can do that. It doesn't have to be you're reading the book and then you hear about J.K. Rowling and you just go, you're tearing me apart. And you rip the book up, you set it on fire, you burn all your merch. It's the same thing that we saw with the NFL. You already bought the $85 jersey. The player or the NFL does something that pisses you off, so you're gonna burn the $85 jersey? Doesn't really make sense when you break it down, but once again, here we are. But yeah, it just goes to show you that it's a shit show. It is just a shit show.
Now, Louis C.K. has been doing shows for like the past year, I want to say. Like he did take a break to like disappear after his shit like popped off. He didn't get jail time, which I'm not too surprised, because like the whole situation was that he was like jerking off without people's consent, like in front of them and shit like that. And it's like, it's really hard to be like, oh yeah, that's definitely gonna get him jail time or whatever, you know, especially if it's been time has passed, all that shit, whatever, right? So after it blew over, he just quietly started trying to like, you know, come back and like do comedy at like, you know, certain clubs, and then he's been doing shows ever since. It's just that it hasn't been talked about too much. I think like he put out a special on his website, and so that was when like officially people started like noticing that he was doing shows and recording content and shit and trying to like get back out there. And then, you know, some people are, of course, like, yo, stop supporting this man because he's awful, you know, or whatever. But the people who are going to support him are going to support him regardless. So he's doing the shows. Whoever wants to go has the right to go. That's just how it is. Like he hasn't gone to jail, so he is able to work, you know, and still like do comedy, unless these comedy like places decide that they don't want him in their venues, you know, and money is money to them. So like I don't think they're going to be like, nah, no Louis C.K. here. Maybe some places, but not all of them. And obviously, Qyz is one of the places that's like, yeah, we don't care. Like, Louis C.K. can come over here. And that's just how it is. But it's fucking weird that they were just like, hey, now that, you know, the Russia has like invaded, don't worry, you'll get your daily dose of Louis C.K. Like, bro, we got the internet. Like, if they care that much, they can just watch some of his old specials. Internet. Yeah, like come on.
I mean, you'd be surprised how many of these, like, there's like, off the top of my head, I could probably think about 8 websites where I could watch any movie that has come out as early as 2 days after its original release date for the free ski right now. Whether it be on Netflix, whether it be Peacock exclusive, it's on Hulu, or it's out in fucking theaters.
Right, exactly.
Everybody has means to go out and pirate this stuff. I'm not saying that you should, but I'm just saying there's more than a fair share of ways to get what you want. And in some cases, it's the only way you're ever going to see it. But, you know, I digress. Because some of this stuff is either out of circulation, or it's just, you know, not syndicated on TV anymore, or perhaps the company involved locked it up in the vault. But you can still find it. Remember all that shit that Warner Brothers locked up in the vault? Disney thought they got rid of? Yeah, you can watch it. You can find it. Some of that shit's just on YouTube.
Yep.
Hell, they got full movies on YouTube now that they might be in a different font. And the title may be weird, but like Blood and Bone was on there a couple of weeks ago, and it was called Michael Jai White Street Fighter movie. and hey, technically not wrong, technically not inaccurate.
It's wild that you mentioned Street Fighter, because Capcom like promised that there was going to be some crazy special announcement, and people were like, "Oh my god, what is it going to be? Is it going to be something other than Street Fighter?" No, it's got to be Street Fighter. Street Fighter 6. That's what it's going to be, guys. And if we got it, we got a teaser. Yeah, there was a build up for a teaser that was like, hey guys, it's me, Ryu, big man. That's right. And it's like, hey guys, it's me, new character, Luke. I'm gonna fight you.
You know what makes me really mad about it? It's not even the trailer. Like, the teaser was whatever. Like, you saw like 8K Ryu foot, big blobby ass chest, and then the 2 characters that were in Street Fighter 5, and you're just like, oh, okay, and what does this really mean? And obviously people have run wild with their assumptions. Oh my God, I think you saw the black ink around Ryu because he's going to have a Street Fighter 4 mode and Luke's going to have a Street Fighter 5 mode. So I'm thinking we're going to have like Groove Select where you can pick any sort of thing from the previous games. And it's just like, all right, y'all are just making wild assertions right now. But that's not what annoys me. What annoys me is you have people who are looking at this CGI trailer and going, oh my God, this is obviously going to be a half-assed product because, and their reasons are, look, they're using the same engine. And it's like, it's a CGI trailer with no gameplay. The fuck do you mean they're using the same engine? Like, you don't fucking know. And then like there was a whole argument where the dude was like, well, yeah, because using Unreal, and he's like, oh, so you know what engine they're using? Because you do know that this is probably going to be on RE engine. They said, well, that's even worse. Why would they use a dated Capcom games engine like Resident Evil? And it was just like, you do know the RE engine does not stand Resident Evil, right? That's definitely the Reach for the Moon engine, right? Like come on, dog. Like you don't have to embarrass yourself every fucking day, bro.
Hey man, the first time I saw it was when they remade that Resident Evil 2 game. So, you know, I just thought, you know, RE engine, Resident Evil, you know,
because I do believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe that it was originally built for Resident Evil 7. I do believe that was the first game that it's been in, but it's been used by plenty of Capcom games since. So it's like Devil May Cry 5. So like it's clearly a versatile engine that they made in-house that they can optimize, blah, 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 blah. But when someone just hops in there and just starts, you know, spewing off, oh, it's all Unreal Engine, baby. And yeah, you know, it's like, do you work at Capcom? Do you have this information on hand? Because if you don't, you look really stupid. And then they try to say, oh, this is clearly lazy. They had a whole countdown and this is all they're going to show us. And I'm just like,
I mean, they might have some inside info because this game has been in development for like at least 3 years now. That's why we got the last season that we got in Street Fighter 5 because this was behind schedule. Street Fighter 6 was behind schedule, and so they made a new season of Street Fighter 5 to give people something to like, you know, play and like have while they wait for Street Fighter 6. But this shows that it's way more behind schedule than we thought. Like maybe they had to like redo some things or something because of the pandemic. But like, yeah, we got a teaser and like it was all CGI, so it's like you don't know if that was actual like in-game footage. Or if that was just like, you know, flexing for, you know, for the teaser to be like, hey, look at how cool the characters look. Everyone is just assuming that it's like that it's like footage of how the characters are going to look in game because of the way they look compared to other games that have used this engine. But we literally don't know. Also, Luke looks completely different, and it's actually like good. He looks like better here.
He doesn't have the weird Popeye arm effect.
Yeah.
Now, granted, we don't even see his tattoos because apparently he's wearing a shirt that has the same design that his tattoos have in the current game, which is really weird to me, but all right. And Ryu just looks like I am now wide. Like that man looked like he was a 4x3 render right there, but
I don't know about you, but like people keep talking shit about this, but like it actually makes sense to me because lore wise, the game can only go to the future now. Like literally, the only thing they could do is make an Alpha 2 or go to the future because every game prior now has closed the loop to from the what is it like Street Fighter 2 to Third Strike. You know, so like 4 and 5 take place in between Street Fighter 2 and Third Strike. So at this point in time, Ryu has been training with Oro.
Yep.
The man who fights with one hand because he's
just that powerful, dude.
Yeah, he wants to fucking, you know, prevent his opponents from like accidentally dying and whatnot, right? So, you know, of course, Ryu here is gonna get super buff. He's gonna become a building. Like I'm fine with this. I want my Street Fighter characters to look, you know, cartoonishly like ripped and whatnot. This is a video game, okay? You know, this is not some like MMA, you know, thing of like real people or whatever. This is a video game. I'm fine with it. Luke, he still has the Popeye arms, but they actually made it look better than the like weird steroid arms that he has in Street Fighter 5, like the weird like tumor arms. That's what I want to say, tumor. Like it looks like he has tumors in his fucking arms, and it's just really like unsettling to look at. But here it looks a little bit better. It just looks like he just kind of like flexes and gets a little bit more ripped when he's using his powers. Hopefully it stays that way. Who the fuck knows? People tried to like pick apart the thing and say that maybe there was like a Ken Flash because of like the way the shadows were falling on Ree when they're showing him at first. And it could be. It's possible because it's so fucking dark that you can't tell. But I don't know if they're teasing anything other than like Ryu and Luke. Luke is new generation, Ryu is old generation. That's as far as we got to give you for this game. Summer 2022 will tell you more about this, which that's what, like 2 months from now?
Yeah.
Why not? Why even just okay? The logo has to change. Like 100%, the logo has to change. It looks like very, very like low effort, unfortunately. You know,
well, we found out that there's been some assets on like those free websites like VectEasy, you know, the ones where you pay a subscription and you get access to a whole treasure trove of quote unquote free use premium images. But yeah, someone literally had the Street Fighter logo like 3 years ago. It's literally just on a pink background instead of, the black and grayscale. And it looks like the only thing they added, and I mean the only thing they added, was that little blob with the number 6 on it. It's not a good look.
Yeah, I don't like that. Like, but
because I could show you the original. Matter of fact, I'll just go ahead and I'll send it to you right now. So the original is a stock this is a stock image. So you go ahead and look at that. Like there's no way they never saw it.
It is exactly the same. They literally just took like a piece of the F and like tilted it downwards. Oh god. Ugh. Like if you're gonna steal better. Like what? Come on. Like when there was that whole controversy that Capcom like stole some art from certain artists, or like they basically like took like art from artists and then didn't credit them for it or whatever.
Yeah.
Like these were like official images for like Darkstalkers and shit like that looked really, really great. To sit here and have to deal with a case where it's like you stole that fucking logo. Like, come on, man. You could have just paid someone $2 to give you this logo if you really wanted it. At this point, like I usually don't even like fucking like care that much about like logos and things like that. But like this is it's so weird that they're like, yeah, Street Fighter 6, and then they like give us like a very basic ass logo with a teaser.
But you know what's wild to me about the logo though? This is the first time I think we got a Street Fighter game whose logo isn't that red to yellow gradient.
Yeah. And that's a meme also. Someone just like took that and then they took Street Fighter 2 and then they just added more fucking eyes to the goddamn Roman numeral instead of putting the actual Roman numeral for 6, which I don't fucking get it, man. Like Street Fighter 4's logo was basic and it's fine. Street Fighter 5 has a logo. Shit, man. Street Fighter 6 barely has a logo. Like I don't. Yeah, it's got a stamp, and like that's good for merch.
What's funny to me though is just like yeah, it's good for merch. You can put it on a beanie, but it's just like, yes, we get it. It's the 6th game, so you chose a 6-sided shape. We get it.
Yeah.
It's not as clever as you think.
I don't care about you being clever. I care about you being like flashy for me. Like this is a logo. You know what I'm saying? Like it's cool. It's awesome if logos are flashy, but it's awesome if logos are like smart and like clever, but they have to be flashy because you're trying to attract people to your product. Street Fighter 5's logo is like really good. Like Street Fighter 5's logo is really good for like what they have because it's a classic Street Fighter text on top of, the giant, V to represent the 5. And then, it's colored in a way where it's like, the world, things are changing. This is really, really going to be like, monumental and whatnot. And you get Street Fighter 6 where it's just like, this is stock shit. Like, oh my God. Like you just showed me that it's something it's literally stock nonsense from like Adobe's stock website of like assets,
Yep.
So they should at the very least say, we're going to update this. Hell, ask for artists to give you, like, make a contest. You fucking did it with like Jerry's costumes. Like, why don't you do this? I mean, look, the best thing about Street Fighter 6 from this teaser is that the characters are going to look fucking amazing. And so you think that that there are people out there with weird obsessions with Jury's feet now?
Oh God.
When she gets put in that game, because they would be fools not to take that character and put her in Street Fighter 6. When that character gets shown, the internet will blow up, because the original population of Jury feet lovers are gonna come out and like coom super hard, and then on top of that, the high def graphics are gonna create even more of them. And then on top of that, you're gonna just have the general population who are just like, the fuck her feet. What about everything else? Oh my God! And then it's gonna get to a point where like, no,
I dry heaved in my mouth because I had a terrible thought, because I know exactly the people you're talking about. They're gonna be like if they have sweat effects, they're gonna be talking about her toe jam. Like our Kappa is gonna triple in viewership. God damn it.
DOA 6, man. DOA 6 is just like a good example of what we're gonna get here. And like, look at how great the characters look in DOA 6. Look at how great how much detail they put into all their characters in that game, especially the women, ever since like DOA like 5. We're gonna get that same level of detail with Street Fighter 6. Well, assuming the trailer is showing us like in-game content and not like trying to like screw us over, and that's gonna make it so that people who've barely ever heard of Street Fighter are gonna start seeing pictures of Jury and then seeing pictures of Jury's feet, and they're gonna be like, "What the fuck what is going on? Oh my God! Hey, whoa! This has awakened something in me. I think I'm gonna buy Street Fighter 6. No. Oh my God! I'm a Street Fighter player now. Like, come on, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, it'll be the only way that some of these people learn footsies, and that's a goddamn shame. It truly is, but. We got to get out of this topic, man, because now it's in that weird place, and it's like, we got to take this off the shelf, guys. This can no longer be sold.
I'm upset that Street Fighter 6, like they hyped it up to give us a teaser. Like they could have just said nothing and then gave us the teaser and then been like, here you go. Because the thing that they announced,
that teaser, man.
Yeah, the thing that they announced beside it was the what is it, the 30th anniversary collection or whatever.
Yeah,
the like Capcom collection. And most of those games that are in that collection are just kind of like, I don't care about this. Like I don't care about what is it, Warzard, the Darkstalkers games that were never really released on console, or that's good that they're going to be out and they're also going to have net play. But like, I think most, if not all, of the games that are in this collection are available on like Fightcade and things like that. So like, there are already ways to play it with rollback netcode,
and already have established communities on them, because it's like, what I think is Darkstalkers, Vampire Savior. I think it's they even got Vampire Hunter and Hunter 2 on there.
Yeah, Vampire Hunter, Vampire Hunter 2, Vampire Savior, and Vampire Savior 2. Which Vampire Savior 2 and Vampire Hunter 2 were like never released anywhere on console, I believe. I think they got like arcade releases and that was it. So it's nice that these games that people didn't really get to play are available. I know there was a Darkstalkers like collection, but I don't remember if that collection had those games included in it. I'm talking about the PSP collection, not the PS3 one, the HD collection that unfortunately is not available in stores anymore. Yeah,
because I know Super Puzzle Fight. There's like 3 different Puzzle Fighter games in there. And then there was Red Earth, and then the one game I've never heard of. I don't know what the fuck Cyberbots is. I don't know that one.
Oh, okay. So you've played Marvel vs. Capcom 1 and 2, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember Jin from those games?
Yeah.
Cyberbots is the game that he's a part of. It's basically like a like mech fighting game.
Huh. Had no idea.
Yeah, so that it's cool that that's being included. You know, Orzard. I think I'm not saying the name right, but like whatever. That game, it's cool that that's being included because that's like one of the like very few CPS3 arcade games, and I think it was released on Dreamcast originally. So like it obviously did not get a lot of love. And you know, lore wise, people know of it. They know some of the characters, but they don't really know this game because it's not really available anywhere. So it's cool that it is available. What is it? Hyper Super Street Fighter 2.
The anniversary edition, yeah.
Yeah, that version is considered to be like one of the best versions of Super Turbo to ever exist, I believe. And that having rollback is really good for like the ST community. But you know, it's still like another version of ST. So yeah. So like people have played that, and you know, rest in peace, Switch version of ST that included those two busted characters. Like, you're never gonna get love ever. Fucking yeah. Between that and like, I don't know. It's fucking weird that they kept showing like Gem Fighter and like really being like, "Here, guys, Gem Fighter is in this," and it's like I don't know. That's one of the games that was like hard to take seriously. So I mean, it'd be nice to play. It'll be fun to play it, but like hard to take seriously. It's very silly.
I also don't think I've ever played Super Gem Fighter Mini Mix. The other one I've ever played.
Yeah, Gem Fighter is the one where it had like a gem system for like your special moves and super moves and shit like that. So like the more gems you collected, the more of those moves were available to your character. I don't know. It was weird, but you know, it came out like around the same time as Puzzle Fighter, and so that became very confusing because they had the same exact like models of the characters and whatnot. So all the characters that you see in Puzzle Fighter are also the roster in Gem Fighter, but Gem Fighter is a completely different game.
Yeah,
it's not a puzzle game.
Contrary to some popular belief.
Mm-hmm.
Because you hear about Puzzle Fighter and you're like, oh, well, Puzzle Fighter, you know, there were gems in there, so Gem Fighter's clearly no, it's not.
Exactly.
But all that being said, the fighting game news doesn't stop here because they finally decided to put Android 21 in a lab coat. And look, I'm not going to spend too much time on this. I'm just going to say this. Power creep in your DLC characters is not a good thing, and I just wish game developers in all genres would stop doing that. Thank you.
Pay to win. Pay to win, buddy. That's what fighting games are now. They're like, why would you want to buy a DLC
but
character?
But it's not just fighting games, bro. I mean, look at Overwatch. When them DLC characters, look at Sigma, bro. Look at Brigitte.
Well, to defend Overwatch a little bit, weren't all those characters free? Look, I played Overwatch.
I get that they're free. I'm just talking about power creep and subsequent release characters.
Oh yeah,
I'm not talking. I am not talking about having to pay for them or not.
I think there's a Toriyama effect to that. Like, so here's my like. I'm gonna put my conspiracy hat on and say I think it's like I think it's the Toriyama thing where it's like by the time they've like decided to start making these characters and whatnot, they've forgotten everything else they put in their game and how the other characters work and whatnot.
So these characters are just designed in a vacuum, designed to just do cool things without even thinking about how it interacts with the rest of the roster.
Yeah. So then when they like release these characters and it turns out that they're better than the other characters that are in the game, it's like, oh shit, sorry, maybe we should like fix the other characters to like because we want them to be just as cool. Yeah, but instead they just don't do that, and you know, you have like weird things like okay, cross tag, BlazBlue cross tag battle has rollback netcode now, so people are going back to that game. But in going back to that game, you now get reminded of the fact that the last DLC pack for that game released the best character, bar none, in that game. The Senran Kagura character, Yumi. Like, if you're like trying to win in that game, you're playing that character because she's just so good at what the game wants to do. But also, you'd have to buy like another DLC pack, which hopefully they release some like definitive version of that game that has everything in one, because that game is a nightmare with DLC. Like the base roster is like a fourth of the full roster of the game. You'd have to buy like what, 6 DLC packs at this point now, I think, to have all the characters that were released.
That is a lot.
Yeah. It's just that like the game was cheaper than the average like fighting game. Like it wasn't a full price fighting game. Because of the fact that the DLC plus the, you know, base game made it the cost of like your average fighting game. So, jeez. Android 21 lab coat is good. She's better than good. She's top 1. Like people are saying she's probably going to be the best character in the game, you know, as they're figuring things out.
You say S?
Huh? Best.
Which character did you say? Oh.
Best. I've seen people saying that she's top 1 so far, and she's the last character to be released for that game, from what I see. People think that they're going to get more. There's a reason she was released by herself. Like, come on, they're like, here you go, guys, we're done. And then everyone's like, yeah, roll back Neko. They're like, here you go, guys, we're done.
So what do you think about Android 21? Do you think Dragon Ball FighterZ will get more DLC because they released her alone?
No, it's not going to get more. I think it's just like the fans have been asking for this, and she should have been a costume, but they didn't know how to deal with that. And so then they made this character who
she uses her tail. She can't hit people with a lab coat.
I mean, look, man, I've seen games that have done it. So I'll pull the veil over. I'll pull the wool over my eyes to allow this to be a costume, because what we got is a menace to the game already. So the people who are playing it now, I mean, they're having fun with the character. She looks fun. Her design is dope. Everything is, you know, like, what more could you want in this character? But that's also the thing.
They about to give every character 1 OTG. Watch, that's gonna be the last patch. You know, she's got EX Stomp. Yep, everyone's gonna get it now.
When the character got announced, I was like, there's no way that they're not going to make her super good, because this is a very beloved character, like, I think universally for this series. Like the moment they saw this character shown for this game, they're like, oh, we love her. Like everything about her is really great, even though she's the villain, you know, everything about her is great. And then they're like, hey, we're going to make her a separate DLC character. You know, damn well those people are like, she's definitely not going to be bottom, you know, whatever in Dragon Ball FighterZ. And she came out being better than like what, the whole roster, I guess.
Just a fucking bout, dude. Just a fucking bout.
So yeah, there's your last DLC character. Have fun with it. Hopefully it doesn't become like a Injustice 1 Batgirl situation or anything weird like that. And you just have fun with the game until the next one comes out. Oh god, they still have to release that Dungeon Fighter game too.
Yeah. And that comes out what, in the summer? July? Yeah, they're still working on a lot of things over there, so who knows what we're gonna get.
Yeah, I don't think that's coming out in July. If it does, wow, brilliant, absolutely amazing and impressive.
Okay. Are you ready?
All right.
So allegedly, it's just summer 2022. Allegedly, they don't have a date yet. It just says summer 2022.
Okay, yeah, they're definitely not releasing it this year. Or it's going to be the end of the year, which I don't think they'll want to do, because that's like the shittiest quarter to like release games in, right? So yeah, next year.
I mean, Q4 is a good time to release if you're trying to get those Christmas sales. But at the same time, you get let's keep it all the way a buck here. I don't think a fighting game is going to do well against the rest of the Christmas competition of the AAA multi-platform games that are going to be hitting the shelves during that time.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
Especially the
but,
first year outside of the pandemic. Well, we're still in the pandemic. You know what I mean.
Yeah,
The first year
I know what you
outside
mean.
of the restricted world.
Yeah, like for fighting games, that's not the best time to release the game. So, uh, um, yeah, here next year, Dungeon Fighter Online, because we have to get at least a second beta.
I
Have to.
mean, here's the hoping. I mean, we had what 2 or 3 betas for Guilty Gear, and that still had a rocky start. So we'll see what happens when we get there. But as always, we'd like to thank each and every one of you for tuning in for yet another week of Clout.Wav. This time, hopefully the video quality is a little bit better because we decided to do a local recording. This one wasn't live streamed, so we're not hampered and nerfed by the fact that Twitch has, crazy encoding. But if you guys like what you saw, as always, leave a like, follow me, follow the great Subtle Fraudulence on all their social medias. Everything will be in the video description field below. And we will see you guys next week. Anything you'd like to say?
The internet was a mistake. Always be nice to everybody, and make sure that if somebody's like saying some wild shit that is involving money, maybe don't do that. Because a lot of these manosphere wannabe creators, they're like charging you for these classes where they don't even spell shit in their like text or their books correctly. So
Facts.
nah, don't give them any of your money.
Wholeheartedly agree, good sir. So yeah, sit back, relax, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye bye.